So in this video, I want to talk about how to get started with alternative fashion, or any sort of like different, creative, unusual fashion that you might want to start. I think this is a really interesting topic, and I'm hoping that it might be useful to any of you who are thinking of starting dressing in a different way, because I remember what it was like for me when I first started. So when I first started dressing, it would have been alternatively back then, so it was in a way that was more, probably emo, goth, punk, in a way that was really different. And I remember thinking about all of the things that I had seen and the way I'd seen so many different people dress, and I just thought it was really amazing. And I just remember thinking to myself, this is how I want to dress, this is how I want to dress, this is how I want to look. But it did feel really intimidating to me at first, at the time, because I didn't have the money to just go and change my entire wardrobe. And I knew that it was probably going to be a long process of, just buying things piece by piece, and it was, and I did do it that way, and I did have to buy things piece by piece, but I did get there. So these are some tips, for any of you who are sort of trying to sort of start out building your wardrobe. These are, just a few tips, things that you can do that might help you. So one of the things that you really have to do is you have to think about key pieces. And I think alternative fashion really is all about key pieces anyway, because it's not about disposable clothing. It's really not. So it's all about gathering pieces that you really love. But the great thing about that is that, if you are starting from scratch, then you are going to want to buy pieces anyway that you can keep reusing, because it's probably going to be easier for you than just, trying to go out and do it all at once. It's probably not going to be possible. So one of the things that I got later, and this isn't something that I started with, but when I did get them, I realised that it made a massive difference to my wardrobe. I'm not going to show them now because I have shown them in another video. I think it's probably entitled coats, crazy coats, winter coats, something like that. But I found that when I actually got coats or jackets that were really different, that made a massive difference, because it was something in the winter and in the autumn. It was something that I was wearing every day. It was like my whole outfit, because you saw it all of the time. It was the main thing that you saw. I mean, some of the time when I was indoors, like certainly when I was at university and things like that, I didn't even take it off. I'd sit there, depending on how thick the coat was that I was wearing at the time, I wouldn't even take it off. I'd just leave it on, so I was in it almost the whole day. And so even though it's probably a more expensive piece, it really is worth the money, because you're just going to get so much wear out of it, and it's going to be a really, really key piece in your wardrobe. I'm going to show you some of the things that I bought. So some of these things were like the very first pieces that I bought, and then one of them I bought a little bit later. But honestly, I've had all three of these pieces going back now for about 10 years or so, so I've gotten a hell of a lot of wear out of them, and it kind of shows you how important they were to my wardrobe, and it might give you some ideas as to the sort of things that you might be able to reuse as well. Now this piece here, this might actually be, and I'm not sure, I know it was one of the very, very first pieces that I bought, but this might even be like the absolute first piece that I bought. I think it might be. It was definitely one of the first. So you can see it here. It's really starting to, you can see that the colours actually quite starting to kind of go now, but that doesn't actually bother me because I still think it looks great. It's just such an individual piece. You can see that it has detachable sleeves, so it starts here, and that's a great thing as well, because you can really get your wear out of it in the summer and in the winter, because in the summer you can just remove these sleeves completely, but in the winter when you can wear the sleeves, or even in the autumn, it looks so great, because you have the gap, there at the shoulder, and then you can see that the sleeves, I think I've shown this piece before, you can see that the sleeves flare out. They're really awesome, and I tend to usually wear it over leggings, and this is just a really great piece. This is another one of the very first even, I think, pieces that I bought. I remember being really obsessed with tartan, and I really wanted a tartan dress. I was so obsessed, I really wanted one, and I found this, and I just thought it was absolutely amazing. Sorry, it's totally fallen off the coat hanger right now. Yeah, I think we have it. And yeah, I love it because it has the black paneling, so it's not just tartan, it actually has that sort of gothic alternative feel to it, and it's really, really quite flared. And the great thing is about this is that even though there are times when I feel like, you know, wearing certain dresses can feel a bit feminine for me, this one usually tends not to. Certainly not in the winter, because I wear it with tights and boots and I can wear a little jacket over it. And you know, one of the really amazing things about this piece is that it's really versatile, so you don't just have to wear it as a dress, so you can actually wear it almost as a skirt as well. So you can wear, if you wear a jacket over the top of it that actually zips up and covers it completely, then it actually looks more like a top and just a little skirt over tights. So yeah, it's really versatile. So if you don't have a lot of money and you want something that you can just re-wear with everything, then, you know, for me, this was a really good option. Now, I know that I've worn this very recently, because I actually wore this when I was recording really recently as well, and this is the piece that I call my corset jacket. This is really, really amazing. And, you know I've mentioned this before, I've worn this so many times, and I have owned this going back about 9-10 years, and it's just been worn and reworn, and it's still one of my favourite pieces now. And if you can get to that point where you have a piece of clothing that you've been wearing for 10 years and you still absolutely love it and adore it, then I'm telling you, you're doing really, really well. For me, and it's funny because I know you hear the word used so much in like mainstream culture, but to me, this is my idea of classic. In terms of alternative clothing, this is my idea of buying something that's really classic. And this is also one of the things that I wear with my tartan dress. So you see what I mean now about just creating a totally different outfit by combining the two things. Something else I think you have to think about is it's not all about the clothes, and that's really hard for me to say because, you know, my life is so much about clothes, and I really, really love clothes, and I think I was so focused on it. But again, if you're just starting out and you don't have the money to buy a load of clothes, remember that a lot of it is in the hair and makeup as well, so you don't need a load of different pieces. You know, your hair and your makeup says so much about your look. And there are two ways that you can really go with this, because on the one hand, focusing on your hair and makeup, certainly focusing on your hair, can actually be the more expensive route. Like if you're focusing on really bright colours, something that you have to redo on a really regular basis, that's probably, because of the recurring expense, I actually think that could end up being a lot more expensive than focusing on buying new items of clothing that you're going to keep. But you can go the other route as well. I mean, obviously there are some hairstyles, if you're not focused on really bright colours, then there are ways that you can wear your hair that does look really different, that does stand out, and that, you know, that feels authentic for you, that doesn't have to cost a lot of money. I mean, for me, I cut my hair short. Now, I'm not saying you should cut your hair short, because I think it absolutely depends on the person. I just did it because it was something that was right for me, but I feel like my style is quite different. I mean, I also have the sides shaved now. I actually have an undercut as well. The undercut isn't something that I got back then, but what I did have when I first started out, I did go the short hair route. That's something that I chose to do, but there are so many different things that you can do that are just really, really simple. One of the things that I do now is bright lipstick. So in terms of the hair and makeup route, bright lipstick, or it doesn't have to be bright lipstick, but an unusual lipstick is a way that you can really make your outfit stand out, that you can really make your presentation stand out, and that you can say a lot with that. So for me now, like if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I do wear some like very obvious lipstick. So I have this one that's bright purple. I also have one that's pink as well that I like to contrast with certain like really colourful pieces that I'm wearing, especially if I'm wearing yellow, if I'm wearing purple, then I really like to wear the pink because I think it contrasts well. But also if you want to go down a much more sort of maybe the more gothic route, then even just adding black lipstick can be really good, or just a very dark lipstick. I know that this probably looks, this does look dark in certain lights, but this is also quite bright. But you can go for like a very dark plum, or I think I have a very dark, it's not even red, it's like a very dark burgundy. I think by Kat Von D. I usually use Kat Von D or Urban Decay. Those can be really good, really good makeup brands if you sort of want to go for a more alternative look. So if you are just getting started, or if you're thinking about getting started, you know, just remember that everyone had to start somewhere. And I know that sometimes you can look at other people who dress alternative, and it can look like they were just it can look like they were born that way. It can look like it comes so naturally, but I can promise you that for me at the beginning, putting clothes together was not natural for me. I did find it really difficult. I never knew where to start. So you know, if a particular style, you know, if dressing alternative, or if dressing in a particular style that's very different to how you're dressing now feels right for you, then just don't let yourself be put off and just do what feels right. And if you stick to key pieces and you focus sort of on the hair and makeup side of things as well, and you try to keep the cost down, then you can actually build something, you know, you can build a new wardrobe or a new sort of general look much quicker than you think. And yeah, right now that's all I've got. So I hope that you liked the video. I hope that it's given you some ideas as well. You know, if you're thinking of starting into this, if you're thinking of changing your style completely, or whatever it is that you're thinking of doing in terms of your style and, you know, the way that you dress. If you did like the video, then please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, then please hit the subscribe button. And I think that if you hit the bell and you hit all notifications, then you should be notified every time I post a new video. And I'll leave my Instagram handle down there as well if you want to follow me on Instagram. And I love comments as well, so if you'd like to leave me a comment on here or on Instagram, then please leave me a comment, and that would be really, really awesome. And I will see you in my next video.